12:51 a.m.
12:51 a.m. 12:51 a.m.
I love Raw.
Good morning, Warwick. Welcome to End of the Line. My name's James.
And I'm Josh.
You hear Josh's little giggle there. That's about the name of the show. We'll be getting to that later on.
Yeah. It's an ironic name, unfortunately. It wasn't intended so, but fate reared its hand. Reared its hand? Is that a term, or did I make that up? Reared its head?
I think you
How does one rear one's hand?
Fate reared its head. Fate reared its ugly head and bit us.
Yeah, it bit us. Yeah,
it did.
It hurts as well. I've got teeth marks in my shoulder.
Yeah.
I don't know why I bit the shoulder of all places.
Yeah, we might have tempted fate with making those slots so early in the morning. There's available ones. I just didn't think we'd get them.
Fate's weird though. Fate's strange. The way it bites it's Anyway,
I think we're going to play our first song, actually.
I think we better do, haven't we? We better do. Our first track of the day is Florence and the Machine. No Light, No Light. I don't really know what this song is. It's got a fun...
I think just the thing we'll point out is we do have to do a set playlist on Raw.
Yeah.
And I think we're more hampered by the state of modern music than anything else.
I mean, the ones that we've chosen today, they aren't the worst examples of current chart music by any stretch of the imagination.
Of course, we went for the lesser of several evils,
the lesser of... in actual fact, Noel Gallagher's coming up. He's formerly part of Oasis.
He's a man who plays a guitar.
He's all right. I mean, I was always a Blur man myself in Britpop, but Oasis had their merits, you know. That thrashy, shouty guitar music, it's all right. It'll do, isn't it? It's just
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that's a mild rant out of the way. So please, if you like Florence and the Machine, I'm sure you will enjoy this song by Florence and the Machine. Enjoy, boys and girls.
Email your requests. studio@radio.warwick.ac.uk.
I love Raw. Yeah, welcome back. That was Florence and the Machine. On a side note, I have an observation to make about... I assume she's called Florence, the lead singer.
We could reveal our complete lack of music knowledge here.
Yeah. Well, I know things about music that I like. I wouldn't necessarily claim to like Florence, but either way, a while back for charity, I think it was called Let's Dance for Charity, Noel Fielding did the Wuthering Heights dance.
Kathy Bates, yeah.
Kate Bush.
Kathy Bates. Who's Kathy Bates?
The large lady from Misery, who breaks James Caan's legs. Kathy Bates. Kathy Bates doing Wuthering Heights sounds terrifying. Jesus,
it's early. Get on with it.
Either way, yeah. Noel Fielding dressed up as Kate Bush in the red dress video when she's in the woods doing her weird woo thing. And honest to God, Noel Fielding in drag is the absolute spitting image of Florence from Florence and the Machine.
Really?
I mean, if that's offensive, it's not offensive because Noel Fielding
I think it is offensive.
No, Noel Fielding is both. Noel Fielding is quite effeminate looking, and Florence, if that's her name, is quite sort of... She's handsome. She's got a sort of handsome male-esque face. You know, if that's libelous, then... so be it, but it's not intended as an insult.
As long as that's an opinion, we're not presenting that as fact.
No. Everything expressed between now and 10 in the AM is the opinion of myself and my partner James, and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of Radio at Warwick 12:51 AM. If you disagree, agree, are sort of inflamed,
up at this time in the morning,
angered, up in this time in the morning, or if you want someone to talk to, please don't hesitate to email us.
If you want someone to talk to, please do not contact this show, because we are not the people to give anybody advice about anything.
But if you're one of those poor fools who mistakes us for one of those aforementioned people, email us at studio@radio.warwick.ac.uk,
pour out your heart and soul.
Yes, and we'll sort of say it on air.
The girl that does the show before us, she's lovely.
She's if you're up, if you're travelling from Leamington onto campus, listen to it, because she's a lovely girl.
It is. It's a wonderful show. I believe from this email I've deduced it's called Hello Monday Mornings with Katie. Presumably that makes her name Katie.
That would make sense.
I don't think we've ever asked.
Well, I think there's a certain point, like when you meet somebody, and say for whatever reason you forget to ask their name. James would know all about this for reasons we'll explain later on. When you meet somebody and you get talking to them, you don't think straight away to ask their name, and then I think after a certain number of conversations, you past the point of asking for their name.
Explain it now. I had somebody living in my flat this year,
who is also on your course.
Who is also on my course. Who I see regularly. I've been speaking to her for. It's always girls.
It is.
I was speaking to her for the first 5 weeks of term. she came into my room. Josh was there. We were watching Firefly, I believe, and I at that moment chose to ask her what her name was.
Yeah. Bearing in mind you've been living with her for what, a month, 2 months?
Over a month.
A fair while, and this girl both lives with you and is on your course.
We share a kitchen.
Yeah, and so it was the thing is, she came into your room and you had a conversation for about 10 minutes. And as she was leaving, he said, "By the way, what's your name?"
I think our name's that important.
But the thing is, I knew her name, and you could have waited and asked me.
I only ever use names in conversations if I'm annoyed with people.
But you say my name in every sentence.
I say your name in every sentence, Josh. Yeah.
So let's move on to our first feature, in inverted commas. We say feature; it's mainly a platform from which we can rant.
It is.
It's called the annoyance of the week, and this week, for obvious reasons, is the juxtaposition of our show name and our time slot. James, you chose the show name.
Well, I chose the show name on. I figured our best opportunity to get a slot would be one really late at night. I mean, I even chose the slots up to midnight because I thought that would be the ideal position, the ideal place, time wise
for a show that's called End of the Line.
That a late night sort of talk show. We maybe rant a bit. We'll talk about some serious stuff. But instead, we've ended up getting an early morning wake up show, haven't we? And I don't know about you, but if I woke up to the sound of us talking, I would go straight back to sleep.
It's far too pessimistic. I mean, that lovely Katie girl before us, she seems chirpy and happy.
She has a lovely radio
We
voice,
could not be more cynical and pessimistic if we tried. I think we don't intend to start your day off with you feeling like you want to curl up into a ball on the M1.
I think the saying is a cynic knows the price of everything and the value of nothing. I think that's Oscar Wilde. I think that sums us up perfectly. I think we're incapable of love.
You're incapable of love. I'm the other way. I'm overly emotional, but in the wrong ways.
Yeah.
My emotion
gets the
better of me. It does.
It leads you to make ill-informed decisions, ill-informed judgments, and
yeah. Is that a cue for the story of the weekend? Is that what you were?
If you want to
the
tell
Leamington escapade.
If you want to tell it, Josh, I think you should go ahead.
Well, it was a friend of mine's 18th birthday, a very good friend, and we all went to Leamington to smack to celebrate. And another one of our friends, who shall remain anonymous, it's too early in the morning for this, was apparently, according to the bouncers, far too intoxicated to be allowed in. So I went inside, thought about getting a drink, realised I didn't have any money, so I left to get some money out, and I found my friend sort of giggling to himself, leaning against the wall outside the club, and I said, oh, what's the matter? Apparently I'm too drunk to be allowed in, he said. It didn't talk like that, but that's how I heard it.
It is important to do different voices when you're telling stories.
It is, in case the early morning listenership gets confused. So yeah, I tried to sort of, I don't know, in my sort of hazy judgment, tried to convince the bouncers that he was in fact okay to be allowed inside, and in doing so I got angry and I started shouting at them and saying all manner of ungodly words to them, and they then told me that I was kicked out as well, even though I just spent £6 to get in there. So I was not happy. I
think we should point out right now that this is a story about the dangers and
it's the pitfalls of
alcohol,
consuming too much alcohol. And not knowing the consequences.
We're advocates of prohibition here.
We're sort of we were everything dry, totally sober. That's the student experience. I think you don't need.
I think just to sum up the story, you're overly emotional, and you're perhaps even what some people may term a violent drunk, abusive.
I've always been the sort of happy-go-lucky. Tipsy man. Not that I'm saying that's a good thing, just to avoid Ofcom being on our backs. But for whatever reason, I think as soon as the clock chimed midnight on the 31st/1st, New Year,
You've mutated into an awful creature, a horrible beast
inside of me, and I don't know. I think that leads us disturbingly aptly onto our next song by Noel Gallagher. It's called "If I Had a Gun." So listen to this song.
Across campus and around the world.
Your music.
Your sport.
Your news.
Your number one procrastination station.
12:51 a.m.
It's your Raw.
Lovely stuff. I think we should point out the time is 9:21 in the morning. People do that on the radio, and I think we don't point out the time on our shows. Should we do that?
I'm not sure how many people nowadays use the radio as a time. So I think watches, clocks on mobile phones.
Watches
I think just
themselves
clocks in
archaic.
general
That's
are quite widespread. It is a slightly archaic practice. I just want to point out the Warwick that little jingle there. How many countries do you have to play in, or how many countries do you have to be involved in to be considered to use the phrase around the world? Is there a minimum number?
The rule that I apply to any definitive claim is at least 3.
At least 3.
But 3 just seems a nice number.
We play in the States, don't we? We play.
Do we play in the States?
But I think we do.
Well, surely if it's radiowarwick.com or .co.uk, that's accessible anywhere. I don't know how the internet works. Apart from maybe
it's
Korea.
warwickradio.ac.uk.
Yeah,
it is.
I think
we do. Is it the University of Boston?
I don't know.
Maybe, or somewhere else.
But the URL should be accessible in.
I think we do a swap on is it a Sunday?
We play. Oh, I see what you mean.
We play one of their shows. They play one of ours.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
There's no danger of us playing in the States, is there? Absolutely none whatsoever.
I don't even think the Raw staff are going to be here to listen to us. Let alone
I don't think the Raw staff. They weren't here when we walked in. We're the people running. Essentially, I like the way how well the system's set up. That it is essentially an automated radio station. You can just come and do your thing.
The inmates can
leave.
Just access the asylum.
The inmates are in charge of the asylum for now. On seasonal mode, I don't know about you. I had a depressingly average Christmas. Christmas for me has got worse every year, to the point that I think by the time I'm 30, I'm gonna hate this time of year. I might just hibernate. I don't think bears hibernate because they're cold. I think bears hibernate because they hate Christmas.
So, because not everyone is as pessimistic as arguably both of us, but you in particular, explain to the nice poor victims that are listening to this show why did you hate this Christmas in particular?
Nothing came together to make it feel Christmassy. I funny enough quite enjoyed last Christmas. I think my main sort of my main point, my main disagreement is with the weather. The fact that really it did not get cold enough to feel like Christmas. It was. There's something about those little sections of temperature, those little bits of weather in between the extremes that are just, I think they're depressing.
Well, yeah, but you can't blame that on Christmas.
Seasonal affective disorder.
Does
it starts to affect people as we come out of
Well, I think
summer?
so. But to go back to your weather point, Christmas is as it comes. The weather is that's like a side dish. You know, the main course is Christmas, and it's blame Bing Crosby. It's Bing Crosby that made us expect snow and frost for Christmas.
I would call Christmas a set of systems that interlink and come together to create something magical. And I'm sorry, but just this year I didn't feel that. I don't know if anyone else.
I think to be fair, I work at Morrison's and I worked a lot over Christmas to get.
I worked at a pub. I worked a lot over Christmas.
Yeah, well, you worked Christmas Day.
We sold our soul, didn't we? Yeah.
But I worked. Luckily, I got Christmas Day, Boxing Day, and New Year's Day off, amongst other days. But those are the main ones. Whereas you didn't, did you? You sort of had to work.
I worked 8 solid days over the Christmas period.
But yeah, I think working in retail over Christmas, that exposes a sort of ugly consumerist capitalist society.
It does. I mean, I don't think we're by any means innocent. I mean, for example, I don't know about you, but I spent most of my Christmas working, a bit of my Christmas spending. So essentially, I was just working towards keeping the capitalist machine
you were sort
grinding
of
along.
The model cog in the machine.
I was the model. You know, if you were going to take somebody economically perfect over Christmas, that it would be me. And I think maybe that's it. I think my own cynicism has.
Well, I think the difference is we're aware of the pitfalls, and
because we moan about it.
Yeah, it makes it acceptable. I like Christmas for the fact that it's, I don't know, it sounds trite and cheesy, but I like the whole community feeling to it. I just enjoy it. It's I don't know. You may not agree with me. I just like the fact that everyone's kind of the food. Basically, there's some great food, and there's decent TV.
There's some stunning. I don't like television particularly. So
movies, because there's some good movies on.
I don't really like Christmas. I don't like anything, do I? No, I don't know. Maybe. I think there are certain individual elements of my Christmas. I had some wonderful meals. I had some wonderful home-cooked meals. I had some wonderful food. I had some wonderful times with some very wonderful people. But I don't think it all came together in the end. That the sum of the parts were somewhat less than the individual parts themselves.
Was it like the Green Hornet?
I haven't seen the Green Hornet, so I can't tell you.
That should have been great, but for whatever reason, everything fell apart.
Just to reiterate, this isn't our film review show.
This isn't Close Up. Yeah, that's another irony of our time slot. Me and James are part of a show called Close Up, which is every other Monday.
Exactly. Which the thing is, because the way our course is structured, the only thing we have on a Monday is late in the afternoon. We have a screening, which some people may say how easy it is, to sit down and watch a film. You DOS students, but actually when it's
to those people, I respond:
a silent,
shut up.
A silent 3-hour film. That is quite something to sit through.
You watch Birth of a Nation hungover, then tell me that it's a DOS subject.
Yeah. So we can't come home on a Monday anymore, which is unfortunate, and which means we can't go home for the weekend. Stay over on the Sunday night unless we come back incredibly early in the morning.
My concern is the fact that this is my one of 2 Lions of the week, and it's gone.
Lions are important.
It's lost to you, people.
It is.
And
I think
that I'm insulting
all 3
you
of you out there, you better be enjoying this. I want to ask if a friend of ours, Sophie, is listening. If she would email it.
Is in Sophie. Yeah, in fact, yeah, Sophie probably is, because Sophie tends to sort of use our shows as a motivation to get up in the morning. And if that's the only purpose we serve, so be it. That's quite nice.
At least we serve a purpose.
I attempted to tweet some response, tweet some support.
Does anybody follow you on Twitter?
I nearly have as many followers as people I'm following.
How many is that?
Excess of 200.
In excess of 200.
Which is either very sad or sort of weirdly impressive. I don't know.
It depends what the people following you are like. Because quite frankly, there were some people I'd rather didn't follow me in the street, and therefore that extends.
Well, I think the majority of those
the
automated sex lines. Those girls call things like candy and say, "Hey, follow me for fun times." Wink, wink. Heart, heart, heart.
Do you subscribe to 200 of those?
No, they're my biggest fans. They're the ones that follow me most of all. Hang on. Sophie Carroll herself has just texted me. She says, "Yep, I'm up. Go me!" with an exclamation mark. So we've woken her up. She's completely psyched. And
ready to go. Ready to take the morning by the scruff of the neck.
This next track is a track that sort of rewards your early morning enthusiasm.
I've liked 2 of the 3 tracks we've had to play so far.
This is a song my girlfriend, she loves this kind of...
Which means I'm going to hate it, doesn't it?
Well, my music taste is sort of melancholy, Radiohead, The Smiths, Smashing Pumpkins. Not depressive, but mellow and introspective. Obviously, my girlfriend loves her dance music because she dances, and this is a song that she showed me, and sense tells me I should hate it, but I saw these guys on Buzzcocks and they were quite interesting, quite amusing, and I've got a soft spot for them. I should dislike them immensely, but I quite like them.
Yeah,
okay. This is Rizzle Kicks.
Get on with it.
12:51 a.m. is Blast Off.
Taking you into Raw-bit.
I love Raw. That's just so brilliant. The word Raw-bit, I think it's the early morning delirium, but I just think that's hilarious.
I hated that song.
So funny. We've got an email here from Michael Perry. Our co-host of Close Up is up and listening to our show.
I'd refer to him as a guest host.
No, because that's unfair. Michael was one of the original. He is as much a host as we are. Good morning to my 2 favourite hosts. I'd like to complain that I was watching Inspector Morse. The guy's texture felt more like asparagus. Enjoying your dulcet tones at this time a Monday morning, though. Oh, just to point out that middle line was a reference to a weird, obscure internet cartoon that we all quote.
Are we going into it? Or?
Well, it's just if you guys have heard, you guys all know you'll know David Firth, who made Salad Fingers. You'll know Salad Fingers or Burnt Face Man. Well, if you look further past those cartoons into his other adventures, shall we say, then he's got a warped mind. He makes some bizarre cartoons.
Who came up with taking you into Rabbit?
I was looking at the
meeting did that.
I like to play songs out with little jingles, and I saw one that said "taking you into Rabbit," and the word "Rabbit" looks kind of like how Elmer Fudd pronounces rabbit. I'm hunting rabbits, and I thought of Looney Tunes, and anything that makes me think of Looney Tunes at 9:35 in the morning is worth playing.
That's the strangest thought process. That just. Next feature. Next feature. We've got it as irritating habits. I just want a story from it's not really an irritating habit. It's more of an unusual surrealist event that happened to me last night.
Platform for irritation.
Platform for irritation.
That's the single.
It wasn't more or less irritating as bemusing, bewildering. I took my washing to the Roots washing station, put it in the machine. I had to that change machine. I was about to swear then. That change machine still is never has change. Its constant beep is a source of whining irritation already. So I had to go to the duck for change. Got it. Put my washing on. Went for a run. Came back. The washing machine is empty. It's about to finish its cycle, but it's empty. So my initial thought is somebody stolen my washing. So I'm thinking, what am I going to do? I'm thinking of phoning my parents. Can you bring me some more clothes up? Can you bring me something to wear? Because I've got the running kit I've got on and nothing else. I've washed that's all my clothes. So I was just about to leave. I was about to give up, and I saw my entire washing not neatly folded, but neatly packed into a bag in the corner. Now you see, like that's a strange story in itself, but a number of events must have had to occur simultaneously for that to happen. The first one is I thought that the washing machines, I didn't think you could open them until the cycle is finished, so that if you want to go for a run, if you want to leave them, somebody cannot steal your washing. So I must have chosen a washing machine where it is physically possible to open the door while the cycle is still going. The second thing that must have happened is somebody must have come in, seen my washing machine, for whatever reason, really, really fancied it, really wanted that washing machine. But the strange thing is, there was no washing in the machine after my cycle. It's not as if they just stole the end of my cycle. It's the fact that they took my washing out of the machine, left it, but closed the door again, left the cycle to run, and left. So somebody just came into the Roots washing station, saw my washing, and said, must have just thought I'm not having that, and left. So my clothes are sort of I'd say 75% washed. I think I might have to wash them again this week, but unfortunately I was in no mood to stay again for another half an hour to have them washed again.
I was in no mood. I think there's somebody going around Warwick playing really lame pranks on people.
Right.
In our kitchen, obviously, we've got the hot toddy chart. Basically, it explains itself every time. This isn't a misogynist thing. No, it's not. It's a girl thing, and the girls are beating the guys, if anything, which they are. Every time you get with somebody, you put a star on the chart, and this last week, it's been missing, and nobody quite knows where, and then miraculously it appeared again. So I guess somebody came into our kitchen and thought, I'll make a mild inconvenience for you. I'll move your chart. I'll make you mildly panic. But,
I think it's like there's a really reluctant prankster going around campus. I had half a jar of peanut butter stolen. Not the whole jar, half a jar. Somebody just scooped out half of my peanut butter.
To be fair, the same person stole half of my bottle of Famous Grouse, which I'm angry about. So if any of you last term saw a masked evil crusader running around Lakeside Block 2 with a bottle half full or half empty, as I probably should say at this time in the morning, bottle of Famous Grouse, that's my bottle of Famous Grouse, and this let's give this guy a name. This semi
Jeremy.
No, let's give him like a villain name, a lame villain name. Something like the I like the Reluctant Prankster. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, the Reluctant Prankster.
We can give him a cape and and like a little balaclava.
We can, can't we?
An RP on his shirt. The irony can be that he speaks with a C pronunciation as well.
Okay.
You're
adding a little bit of character depth there. You know,
Yeah.
we've got a three-dimensional character. Let's not say that this is not somebody with just one element to them.
If anybody heard that, the challenge for next week is to draw a picture of how you imagine the Reluctant Prankster to look, bearing in mind everything we just said. Scan it,
Character description,
and email it to studio@radio.warwick.ac.uk, or failing that, email us personally at josh_glenn@hotmail.co.uk. James is not looking like he wants to give out his email address on the radio, so just email me.
No, I wasn't actually listening to you for the last.
Fair enough.
I was thinking of someone else.
Story of nice one, James. It's great that
there's one person in this room and I wasn't listening to them.
That's how most people feel when you tell things to them.
Irritating habits. The second one is, and this is one that must affect other people as well. It's something that I've been thinking about for a while. It's when somebody is listening to a comedy program.
It's such a niche irritation.
I don't think it is. When somebody's listening to a comedy program, somebody's listening to a podcast, whether it be Ricky Gervais's XFM, Carl Pilkington podcast, or somebody is listening to BBC Radio 4, and they're sitting with headphones on, laughing out loud, and now it just looks like somebody sitting in a corner giggling to themselves, and it is this.
That's what it is.
I think there's sort of like a deep primeval response to that, and it's one of fear and apprehension, because if somebody's just giggling to themselves in a corner, I think like a fear. I think a fight or flee sort of system kicks in, and there's a rush of adrenaline. Like you might have to defend yourself from something, because it looks absolutely psychotic.
What do you want a response from me?
I'm not accusing you of doing this.
You're accusing me of doing this.
I'm not accusing you of doing this.
You're not accusing me. Well, back in my early Ricky Gervais show days, I was prone to sit in a corner listening to Ricky Gervais show and just giggling to myself.
Did you have many friends back in sixth form?
I didn't need friends.
I didn't. I had my radio friends.
I had my radio friends.
We'll be everybody that's listening right now will be your radio friends.
We'll be your radio
That's our
friends.
promise.
Yeah.
I love Raw.
Well, that was that. That leads us nicely on to our next segment, which is.
I think we should musical education.
Yeah.
Neither of us. Well, I think Josh is probably more clued up on music.
I try to. I thought I was quite diverse, but I tend to prefer, like I said, things that are more melancholy and introspective and sort of.
I think with the amount of music there is available, or the number of different genres that music has under its umbrella, I think it's almost impossible to find somebody completely clued up on everything.
That's
but
true.
I would say I was certainly at the lower end of the spectrum. In terms of particularly modern music.
But we both have our flagship artists.
We do have our flagship artists.
Which, James, if you want to name yours.
Well, mine is somebody who's existed all the late 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and now has continued to make music. Bruce Springsteen. And
mine are the guys that helped sort of see the end of Britpop in the 90s. Radiohead, obviously not for everyone. I'm in a small group of people my age who adore them. Everything, most things.
I'd say
things
Radiohead, in my experience, is fairly popular.
Well, in that case, I want to live where you live.
I think Springsteen would be the more niche artist.
I think it's not. I think people just don't know him. People think they know Radiohead and assume they're whiny, awful people, which I suppose they're prone to whining.
I think there's a similar sort of thing goes on with Springsteen. I think the track that when you think of Springsteen, you think of Born in the USA, don't you?
You think of that kind of Americana.
Exactly, but it's a misinterpretation. It was misinterpreted inside America domestically as a patriotic song. It's not particularly. If you know of Bruce Springsteen's political work, he's a liberal. He's very much against that. I wouldn't say patriotism, but
a kind of gung ho
nationalism. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it was. The French Prime Minister during the First World War I can't recall his name.
Clemenceau.
He said a patriot is somebody who loves their country, and nationalist is somebody who hates others.
Yeah.
I think that's a very fine distinction.
It's a bit vague, but yeah.
So Springsteen really is. It's basically American history.
So
for 40
and
years.
Radiohead is
It's very much
a century's worth of influencing the next century, shall we say? Because I think after the Bends and OK Computer, there were so many new sort of indie-ish alternative British bands that were stuck in that sub-Radiohead mold, like Coldplay, for instance. You could even argue sort of Keane and Snow Patrol, and I think Muse are the guiltiest because I think they took that kind of electronic-y, crunchy guitar sound that Radiohead pretty much reinvented.
There is a certain blandness to all the bands that you
and I don't know. Well, shall I? I
think you should play this.
I'll begin by educating Gems. This is, I suppose, the starting point for anybody who thinks that they could potentially get into Radiohead. This is a song that off their first album, Pablo Honey, which was generally sort of derided by critics, apart from this song, which I think to this day is considered one of their finest. Sounds like Muse is what James said. Sounds like Muse. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Muse. In fact, I don't think they're wonderful in the slightest. But
he's insulted. He's upset, and
if you'd have said he sounds a bit like Jeff Buckley, then I would have been like, yeah, damn.
You see, I tried to say what it sounds like, and you put the words Jeff Buckley in my mouth.
I did.
You did.
I tried to. You didn't take it.
I wasn't really thinking that in the slightest.
There's a hint of Buckley-ness to his voice. I think it's a bit whinier, but I just love. He's so. The things that man can do to his voice.
Well, I think there's something particularly that I've heard about Radiohead is the they've done so many different albums that inhabit a different sort of.
They kind of mastered that guitar stadium rock.
A different genre. There's a variation to their work, rather than it just being all very similar.
Well, that's it. I think they went from that to the Bends, which was their breakthrough album, then OK Computer, which kind of made it a bit more experimental, and then that was them at their peak, and then everyone was like, what's next? And the album that followed OK Computer in I think 99 was Kid A, which was that they sort of chucked away all guitars, and it was all sort of electro-y, experimental, and people sort of polarized, and to this day polarizes fans who think they should have stayed doing what they knew best. But I love everything they've done. I mean, the latest album, King of Limbs, was a bit autopilot-y, it felt like them coasting, but next week, not next week, the next show, I will show you another song.
That's in 2 weeks today. I just before we go on to my part of this feature, showing you a Springsteen song. I just want to say the show that Katie does before us is called Hello Monday Mornings with Katie. Now, either one of two things happened. She pitched the show with the title Hello Monday Mornings with Katie. Now,
I think that the show is Monday Mornings with Katie, and the hello is from the listener saying hello Monday mornings, like someone saying hello end of the line or hello close up.
But again, Hello Monday Mornings with Katie would work equally well as a title. But yeah, so maybe she pitched the show as Monday Mornings with Katie. So does that mean that Raw were, in a way, obliged to give her a Monday morning slot? Because I'm just wondering if we called our show Thursday Evenings with Josh and James.
Yeah.
If we were on a Monday morning.
Yeah, that could be.
It would look like a very unprofessional radio station. Do you think we should force Raw's hand next time? Hello all week, non-stop with Josh and James.
Yeah. Anyway, introduce your song before.
I'm not going to talk about albums this week. I'm going to. We both have a background in film. The song I'm going to play you is "Streets of Philadelphia." It's one of my favorite Bruce Springsteen songs. It's written specifically for the 1995 Tom Hanks Oscar-winning film Philadelphia, which is about a man with AIDS who fights a discrimination case against his former employers. It's very 90s. It's a little bit cheesy. It's essentially a television movie of the week with an A-list cast, but what an A-list cast do with that material is absolutely extraordinary. Tom Hanks and Denzel Washington are absolutely wonderful in it. It's brilliant, basically. Yeah, it brings me to tears every time. Streets of Philadelphia is it's got almost one single drum track backing it, and it's some beautiful lyrics. It's like poetry, and I think it's brilliant. This is the song I want to introduce you to Springsteen through.
And on that note, we end our first end of the line show. So thank you.
Wonderfully relaxing morning song.
Yeah, we've got very few seconds left before our time slot ends. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for listening. This time in the morning, we've had a great time. I hope you've had a not truly awful time listening to us.
Yeah, it's
I think that was the same sort of note Katie signed off before us. How brave to do a show on your own.
To be fair, I think this is her first. This is the first time she's done a show, isn't it? I think this
term.
This term, yeah, this is her first show. To do it by yourself, first thing in the morning with no
exactly.
With no sort of
I would never be able to do it.
It's very brave.
It is. What are you playing us out with?
I will play you out with one of my favourite songs by a band called Counting Crows. They came to what's the term? They came to a head. They came to the fore. Similar time as early Radiohead, with a song called Mr. Jones. I'm not going to play that. I'm going to play Round Here, which is just it's spectacular. But yeah, again, thank you so much for listening to us, being so patient with our shtick. And we hope we haven't put too much of a downer on your day.
Don't want to overstay our welcome.
Okay.
So, goodbye.